Hey TransformHQ fam, it is Trainer Angie here, and today I get to talk to you about healthy eating and how the food that we eat impacts our mental well-being. So I'm going to share with you five things we can implement into our nutrition that will support a healthy brain. So let's just jump right in and get started. The first thing I wanted to talk about is increasing your omega-3 fatty acids. So omega-3 fatty acids can be found in fatty fish like salmon or mackerel. They also, if you're not a huge fish fan like myself, you can find them in walnuts, flaxseed, chia seeds. And there are a couple of reasons why omega-3 fatty acids are so good for our brain health. The first is they support cognitive function. They help with our cognitive function, and that is like our ability to think clearly, to process information, to problem solve. So obviously we want that to be like tip-top shape. And then the other reason why omega-3 fatty acids are important is because they help support they help blood flow in the brain. And we need that because that is how our blood gets, or how our brain gets the oxygen that it needs, and also the nutrients that it needs. So two really important things that omega-3 fatty acids can do for our brain health. The next thing is to eat foods with probiotics in them. So that's going to be like your fermented foods like yogurt or sauerkraut or kimchi. They'll give you probiotics to kind of have a nice, healthy gut. And it's really amazing how connected our brain and our gut are. If you have an unhappy gut, you probably have an unhappy brain. So having a nice, healthy, happy gut is going to support a positive mood in our brain. And just like omega-3 fatty acids, they also support cognitive function as well. The third thing is to consume complex carbs. So there are two types of carbs. There's simple carbs and complex. Simple is like something that's going to give your body energy really quickly, like candy or juice. And then there are complex carbs that take a little bit longer for your body to break down, and the energy lasts a little bit longer. So complex carbs are like whole grains or fruit or legumes. And they give nutrients that are going to help protect the brain. And they also, just like I said, they take a little bit longer to break down. So they kind of give a longer lasting, steadier source of fuel for our brain. You've probably had a time when like you didn't get enough carbs, or you haven't eaten enough in the day, and you feel like you just have brain fog, like you can't even think clearly. And that's because our brain needs those complex carbs as a source of fuel to kind of, work properly. So make sure you're getting those complex carbs. The next one is something that I feel like we talk about a lot, and that is get enough protein. It's important for so many reasons, but it is also important for your brain health. So some examples of protein, like meat has protein. So aim for like lean meats, chicken, fish. If you're not much of a meat eater, you can get protein in eggs or beans, lentils. So protein has amino acids that we need to produce certain neurotransmitters that help regulate our mood. So very important for brain health. And then, just like many of the other ones, they will help with your cognitive function as well. Okay. The last one to talk about, number 5, is to limit your added sugar and your processed foods. So high sugar and high processed foods, they're associated with an increased risk of mental health issues. And when we overconsume sugar or processed foods, it leads to an imbalance in chemicals in our brain that are really linked to our mood. So if we have an imbalance of those chemicals, it's just harder to feel happy and positive, and things like that. So you don't have to cut out added sugar or processed foods completely. That's very hard to do. But we've talked before about that 80-20 rule, where if you're trying to get 80% of your diet as like whole food, then you have a little bit of wiggle room. You have about 20% where you can have foods that have added sugar and are processed, and it's really not going to impact your mental well-being or even like your weight loss goals either. So that's it. Those 5 things that I want to talk about. The assignment for today will be in the comments. Make sure you click on that and complete that within the next 48 hours. And just remember that our the things we eat, we feel them physically. And I think sometimes we put the focus on like how we feel physically when we eat something. But we also have to remember that our food really impacts our mental well-being as well. So let's try and focus on those 5 things we talked about so that we can feel good physically, but also mentally. All right, guys, we'll talk later. Have a good one.